So the December festivities have come and gone. All the excitement, all the indulgence, all the hoo-has, the nonsensical expenditure. We can put it like that. All of that too is gone. New Year celebrations are also gone. We had firecrackers lighting up our skies, loud music, dancing. Even people with minor ailments, they will just put their ailments aside and focus on the festivities and celebrating. But wait, with December festivities having gone, they also left with your wallet. They also left with your food. They left with your household goods. December also left with a bit of your sanity and not even pocket money. You can't even buy yourself a can of cool drink. If that is talking to you, I'd like you to quickly get your pen and notepad and just jot down, as I will be sharing, 4 basic, simple, very simple steps in making your January great again. Building a January of abundance and a stress-free January. And if you manage to get this right, you to be a January where it will feel like December all over again. Hello everyone, I'm yours naturally, and I am naturally yours. We are at the arena of ambassadors for a fulfilling lifestyle. I welcome you to this segment where we are discussing how to make January great again. Now that December is gone, the festivities, the celebrations are all gone, you probably find that your purse isn't so happy with you. Your bank balance is begging to be topped up. Food at home is not enough. You have to pay school transport, school fees, books, stationery, whatnot. You can only imagine. And some of you have to go back to work and you don't even have money for transport. So it is important that we look at how we can make our January great again. More like, instead of having a 2-month-long January, how about we flip the script around and we make a 2-month-long December where the excitement never ends until February comes and we're back to normality again. So the 4-step formula that I want to share with you, it's very simple. You can do it anytime. You can start even today. So let's start with step number 1. Step number 1 is building your own December bonus. And how do you build the December bonus? First, you'll want to create a savings. Maybe you'd want to make it a 32-day notice account. Then every month, put in some money into that account. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Just put in a little bit every month. You know that is the money you're going to use for December festivities. Step 2, you need to cut down your December expenses. Your normal monthly expenses, those monthly expenses come December, they still stand. The institutions that you have financial commitments with, they will not say, oh, yours, it's December, so forget, you don't have to pay that. No, it doesn't work like that. They still expect their money. So in you cutting down your December expenses, if possible, you can actually bring down your December expenses down to 0, where you have absolutely 0 expenses in December. And how you can achieve this is look at your individual accounts, understand how the account and the payment plan is structured. Things like levies, like rent, like school fees, you can pay in advance. You find that if you have paid in advance, and let's say you are in advance by 2 months, even if you miss 1 month payment after that, you are not seen as owing because your account is in advance. So you need to identify all those type of accounts. Whatever you're supposed to pay in over a period of 12 months, which is 1 year, you will take that total, you divide it by 11, and that's what you are going to pay every end of the month. So meaning that instead of you paying from January up until December, you are paying from January up until November. What you are supposed to be paying in December, you are no longer paying it. That is money to your pocket. And once you have done that, you've got now extra money to your pocket. So you can imagine if you've got X number, let's say you've got rent, you've got school fees, you've got, I don't know what else you'll be having, and you take those monies you are paying in advance, covering the month of December. Come December, you can easily have 10,000, 20,000 Rand cash. That is your money that you don't have to pay into any account because you've already paid in advance. So even if you don't pay in December, you are not in debt, you are not in arrears because your account is automatically in advance. Step 3, you need to build your household goods reserves. Now, how you do that, you do it over the course of the year. So right now it's January, you can start end of this month. This one, it requires you to know all the individual items that you make use of in your home, and you note them down and understand that in a month, how many of those items you make use of. Let's use a bleach, for example. So bleach in your house, if you know that you are using 2 bottles of bleach a month in your house. So what you can do is that the first month, depending on your budget, of course, on your money, of course, you can now start buying extra items. So when you know that I am done with bleach, I move on to the next item, next item, next item. You can structure that any other way. You can look at it from, maybe you move from room to room in your house. You start with the bathroom. Things are needed in the bathroom. That would be your toothpaste. That would be your soaps. You start buying plenty. And as now, let's say you need 2. Let's make an example. Let's say you need 2. You always use 2 bottles of bleach per month. And then end of this month, you buy 4 bottles of bleach. What that means is that by end of the following month, you'll be having 2 bottles of bleach extra. You don't stop buying the bottles of bleach, you continue buying, but now you go back to your normal purchasing. The number you go back to buying 2 instead of 4. And meaning that now the following month, you move on to the next item. Say maybe the next item is toothpaste and maybe soap as well. And the same can be applied to your food items in your kitchen. Very important to note is that as you are building up a surplus, especially of items that have an expiry date, you want to consume or make use of items that expire first and then finish off with items that expire last. What that would create for you, you will create reserves that are in surplus for your December festivities and surplus that are still in a good condition. You don't want to build a surplus of expired goods. So you will have to be tactical about this one. Let me squeeze myself in quickly and just take a few seconds of your time. First of all, thank you for making it to this point into the recording. As the arena for ambassadors for fulfilling lifestyle, we are on a journey to 1,000 subscribers. And I would like you, if you haven't yet done so, to click that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a comment so at least we can engage, like this video, and remember to share with your loved ones. Enjoy the rest of the video. So remember, this surplus, it depends on you. Are you building a surplus for January or are you building a surplus for December and January? That will depend on the vision that you are having. If you're going to build a surplus for December and January, what that means is that you need to have a 2-month surplus. Let's go back to our example of bleach. We say your household, you use 2 bottles of bleach per month, meaning that if you want to build a surplus for both December and January, you'll make sure you have 4 bottles of bleach that are extra, meaning that you will buy your bleach in the year up until November because you already have for December. What that means, the money you would have spent to buy that bleach for December, it will now go and add up to your December bonus. And then the last 2 bottles of bleach, they are surplus that you have that is for your January spend. So now let's go back and backtrack and see what we have done. 1, you are intentionally building your bonus for December by creating a fixed savings where you pop money in that account every month, little monies, not too much money that you cannot enjoy yourself, you cannot breathe, you can't even get yourself a can of cool drink. 2, what you have done, you've cut down your fixed costs, your fixed expenses, your expenditure. You have looked at things like your rent, your scholar transport, things like that, of which you have paid them in advance. It's up to you and your finances. You can pay them in advance for December and January, or just for January. Remember, if you're gonna make an advance or a surplus just for January, December you still have expenses to take care of because you are just 1 month in advance. Because the idea is that you want to make sure that come January, you have food at home, you have your household goods at home, all the important things are taken care of. So I would say that where you can cover for both, you want to make sure that come January, you have food at home, you have your household goods at home, all the important things are taken care of. And as you are busy buying things in advance, of course, you need to have a place where you're gonna store those items. And the 4th one is paying certain debts in advance. So some of the things that you need to pay that the cost will start in January, those you would want to pay, if possible, in advance. Things like your books, kids' school books, school shoes, school stationery, school transport, that you may want to pay in advance for the month of January. So at the end of the day, you don't want to create an end of December entering January filled with expenses. I also have a bonus tip for you. You must look at the festive season as a whole. It may be a span of 3 to 4 weeks. You are not overindulging from the start to the finish of that. Identify dates that are important to you and your family. Not all days, it's days for overindulgence. Not all days, it's days for going crazy, going hoo-ha. No. So what you do then, you identify those individual days where you say, on this particular day, for example, on Christmas Day and maybe Christmas Eve, and then on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and those are the days you wanna overindulge. And on the days where you overindulge, I would say that also plan for them early. Don't let them catch you off guard. The whole idea of making January great again is not to finish our resources, our funds that we have accumulated, that we have created and built. What we want to do is that when December comes to a halt, you've got reserves stacked up in your home for your household goods, for food as well. What you want to have done is that you've got accounts that have been paid for, your rent for January. You know, those are accounts we pay either way in advance. You want to make sure that they are paid for early. Another one, just an additional point you want to look at for your December festivities, during the festive period, you want to look at what experience you and your family want to have. And it would benefit you to plan for those experiences, for the activities that you want to partake in advance. So what I'm trying to say is this. December is coming. You know that December is coming. You know there's going to be lots of activities and lots of celebrations going on. You know that children will be home, so there'll be more expenditure. Chances are that you would have taken leave from work, so you'd also want to be entertained as well. Pay for experiences in advance where you can. So where you can, buy vouchers, buy holiday things, buy gift vouchers, buy all those things in advance throughout the year. You don't want when December comes, when you have to go for movies, where you have to buy someone a gift, everything you're paying directly from your pocket. Where possible, pay for those things during the course of the year. To somebody who is not experienced to this, they may find it that they may think it's boring. They're like, so now I'll stay from February until December. I'm planning. It's not that intensive. But basically, you are being smart about your December, how you're going to have your December, and how much money you're going to spend in December. And trust me, if ever you plan for your festivities in advance, when you are not under pressure and you are taking your time, you will find that when it's time to enjoy the festivities, you are more organized, you are calmer. You can even find yourself, spending on things that normally you are not able to because you are spending consciously. Even extra money that you are left with, you are aware that I've got 1,000 rand extra. Even if I do everything that I want to do, I will still be left with an extra 1,000 rand. We can call that a buffer. A buffer is money that can cover things where you miscalculated somewhere, and that buffer as well, it can help you for unexpected expenses. So, you want to make your January great again. It is very, very possible. All it needs is proper planning, and all it needs is a little bit of creativity, a little bit of patience, a little bit of maturity. I'm hoping that these tips, they would work for you as they are working for my family. And I look forward to seeing you indulging in your next January. Thank you so much for making it to this point of the recording. As iron sharpens iron, please share in the comment section what tips do you have for fellow ambassadors and for everyone who will be listening and watching this video. What tips do you have? What is it that you are doing? Let's engage, let's communicate, and let's share ideas and share tips on how we can make January great again. And before I go away, I'd like to recap quickly what those 5 tips are in making January of overindulgence, a double dose of December. We have 5 tips. The 5th one was a bonus tip. 1, we said build your bonus. We said you must be intentional, create a savings account that you will put away, you will not touch, where you will put money in every month. Little monies every month, whatever you can afford. Money that you will have access to in December. 2, we said cut down your December expenses. And how we do that is to identify accounts where there is fixed payment, accounts that allow us to pay in advance. And if it's paid in advance, you can skip a month and you don't go into arrears. Instead of paying over 12 months, you divide the annual cost for those particular account. A good example is a rent. You divide it by 11 and you pay it over 11 months instead of 12 months. 3, we talked about building household goods reserve. Building reserves for your household goods, your household groceries and food. And we also noted that the most important thing when building reserves, items that expire, you'd want to make use of those items first. And as you are building your reserves, you're heading to the back and not to the front, so that you make sure when it's time for the festivities, when January arrives, you still have fresh goods, you have a surplus that is fresh, it's still in good condition. And then 4, we may want to consider paying for some of your January expenses in advance. And because that would help you build a buffer. A buffer is money that would be there in case you miscalculated, where there is surprise expenses during the festive season. You just want to have that extra buffer just to give yourself a bit of room to breathe. And our bonus point, that was 5, You'd want to consider buying for your December experiences in advance. And what we mean by that, it's the activities that you would like to partake in December. It can be things like you want to go to a day spa, you want to go to an amusement park, any experience that you'd like to have. If those places, they can allow you to buy vouchers, gift vouchers, can think of it as a gift for yourself, or paying for the tickets in advance before December arrives. That would help you great deal. So instead of you paying for December activities there and then, you would have booked and paid for them early, in advance, or in part payment. That way your December expenditure comes down, your December buffer goes up, as well as your December bonus comes up. So those were the tips that we have for you in how you can make your January great again and have a double dose of celebrations in the month of December and January. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for joining in the conversation. Please remember to share your comments and to share your tips. And for more tips like this, do subscribe, do hit the notification bell, and so that YouTube can start spreading this message to other people as well. Please do engage with us by liking this video, by commenting, and actively you sharing this video with your friends and your loved ones. Until next time, stay blessed. I love you, but remember, God loves you more.